Hello and welcome. This is Wylker, and today we'll be looking at an update to Powercrystals mod MineFactory Reloaded. This is the 2.1 update. It introduces some bug fixes, some compatibility fixes, and most importantly, some cool new machines, some new blocks, and some other neat new stuff. Let's go look at one of the new machines. It is called an ejector. Let's look at the recipe real quick. It's made from the ubiquitous MineFactory factory machine block, as well as a dispenser, 3 gold, and 2 redstone. And what the ejector does is you place the block down, as you see here, next to an adjacent inventory, and by simply providing a redstone pulse, what you're going to get is an item pulled out of the adjacent inventory and spit out the output hole here. And you'll notice I've got it connected to some conveyor belts, and the item pops right onto the conveyor belt and shoots down the line. And what these first two machines we're going to look at do is really allow you to use conveyor belts in a much more practical fashion. Notice those conveyor belts are colored. So here's how we make a colored conveyor belt. We use ceramic dye, which is another MFR recipe. It's made real simply from a clay and from any colored dye that you want. I don't really know what that inventory tweaks error message is all about, but that's okay. So on top of the colored conveyor belt recipe, we also have stained glass and stained glass panes, and they're made very similarly with a ceramic dye colored in your particular preference next to either a glass pane or a glass block. Here's a white one. And again, it's very basic. It's ceramic dye, which is clay, and any color dye that you want, and you put them together. There are a ton of different glass panes that you can see here, all the different colors that are represented by different dyes, as well as different stained glass blocks. All real straightforward, very cool looking in the world. You'll see here's the blocks. The tent effect is really neat. Here's the panes. Just really well done. The next block we're going to look at is the item router, and you'll notice that very much like a diamond pipe, it has colored rows. And you'll see I've got dirt in the yellow row here, and I've got cobblestone in the red row here. And the way this works is this block has little colored dots. You see them right there and right there, and those represent the different sides. Now, what's really neat is that any side of this can be an input face. So in this case, I've got input on the blue side, but you'll notice that there's nothing special to notate that here. So any side can be an input side. I've got a chest on the yellow side, and I've got another conveyor belt here on the red side. And you'll see what happens here is as I spit cobblestone onto this conveyor belt, it will pop out the side and shoot down the other conveyor belt that I have set up over there. There's a sheep swimming in the ground. And if I throw dirt onto it, I come and look at my chest here, and you'll see all the dirt got gobbled up into the chest. So these two blocks together really give you the ability to use these conveyor belts for some more sophisticated machines, maybe some automated crafting or item sorting or things like that. The item router recipe is as such: 2 redstone repeaters, a chest, 3 gold ingots, and a factory machine block. And you'll notice you get 8 of these machines with these recipes. So sorry, Greg Tech fans, if these recipes are too easy mode for you. I'm sure we can make it up to you later. The next item we're going to look at is called a liquid router, and it's made with 3 buckets and redstone repeaters and gold on the machine block. And the liquid router is really cool, and I could be wrong, but I'm not sure there's another mod that adds this kind of block. So let me show you what it does. Again, we've got a color-coded sorting system here, and you'll see very much like the item router, there's dots that represent the colors. And I think the black output on these is on the bottom, if I remember correctly, but I'm not going to dig it up right now to look. So here's what I've got. I've got 2 different liquids over here set up in the same pipe system with 2 different outputs. So what's going to happen here is once I turn this pump on, you'll notice the oil will flow out, get routed to the green side, and automatically fill up this tank that I have set up over here for it. And if you watch, once this finishes, it's almost done, and I let the pipe empty out, the lava automatically, I had the pump turned on already, automatically will get pumped out and then routed over to the correct side. So this could really be a neat block. I haven't given a lot of thought to the practical application. You could have some kind of refinery system set up where maybe oil got pumped to a refinery and then pumped back into the liquid router and then out to the correct output side. Just a really neat block with a lot of different possibilities. Let's take a look at how to build it real quick. The item, the liquid router. We did that already. The next block we're going to look at is called the deep storage unit. The deep storage unit is a variation on a block that you might have seen from some mods, but I think it works in a much cooler fashion. The deep storage unit is made from 3 gold, 3 ender pearls, 2 eye of ender, and a factory machine block. Again, that error. I don't know. Oh, it's an inventory tweaks error. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. So the way this works is there are 2 input slots, and those input slots are always going to have the same item in them no matter what. And that allows for it to process entire stacks of stuff at once. So it's just kind of a convenient workaround thing. And then what happens here is anything that gets pumped in from what's indicated on here as an input side, notice each side, each face has its own input or output setting, allows you to pump items in, and it'll go into the internal storage. Now the output buffer here is always going to have a complete stack in it, so that you can always grab a stack at a time if you need it directly out of the box. And then the internal storage buffer here will hold up to 2 billion of an item. Yeah, 2 billion. Very cool. And in addition to that, if you pick the item up and you drop it back down, it will remember how many it had, unlike a lot of other items. So once you have this indication of this input and output sides, I think I broke my pipe here. What's going on? Yeah, I sure did. Once you have the input and output sides set up, you can then pump out with another system. I don't know what's going on there. But I sure broke it when I picked that block up. I updated Buildcraft today, so I don't know if it's got some little bugs in it or not. But you can use the output side, the output face here, and pump items back out into another connected inventory. Very cool. We'll come back to this block here in just a minute. So the next thing we're going to look at is called a lava fabricator. And the lava fabricator is made with 3 gold, 2 obsidian, a blaze rod, and 2 magma creams, along with the factory machine block. And the functionality of this block is real simple. When it's supplied power, it will use the power and build up lava in its internal storage. And it automatically ejects into connected liquid pipes. So you'll see there that without pumping it out, it's automatically ejected it, and the power system will then cycle and continue to fill the inventory up slowly. It'll automatically eject it over here into the connected liquid. Same concept over here, except with an oil fabricator. Notice I again have it hooked up to power, and it's been slowly filling up its internal buffer. And I talked to Powercrystals about this, and he's trying to make sure that from a numbers standpoint that the amount of energy used to produce lava and oil is about the same amount of energy that would be used to produce it from other sources. So it's trying not to be too overpowered with pulling liquids out of thin air in this particular case. The recipe for the oil fabricator is very similar to the lava fabricator. Except it's 4 obsidian and a TNT block. I don't know what TNT and obsidian have to do with oil, but I like it. And you'll notice it's a similar interface. It just shows you the power cycling up and then filling up the internal storage and gets pumped out to the attached liquid container. So what is going on over here? This is one of the coolest blocks that I've seen in a really long time. It's called a liquid crafter, and it does a couple of things. At its most basic feature, it will function for you just like an auto crafting table. You notice when I put these wood planks up here in the crafting grid that it shows me what the output's going to be, and then by applying a redstone pulse I get my oak wood stairs over here in my output. The output sides of this block are the top and bottom. The sides are all going to be interacting with the resources inventory here, so you can pump items into the sides to get additional items placed in your resource inventory. And then if you pump out of the top, it will travel down whatever you shoot it down into a connected inventory. So what else can this block do? Why is it so neat? Well, in addition to functioning as a basic auto crafting table, it can also do a function that I know a lot of people have been looking for in different crafting tables and they've been unable to get them. You'll notice that I've put my handsaw, and this is from Red Power, and a stone block in here. And just like you might expect, my template is a stone slab here. And you'll notice that in my resources inventory, I have another handsaw along with my stone bricks. So, I'm sorry, my stone blocks. So what can happen here now is when I provide a redstone pulse, it activates the recipe, it uses some durability on the handsaw in my resources inventory, and I get my stone slabs. Really, really cool stuff. It works with redstone as seen here. I'm sorry, with red power. It also works with equivalent exchange. Notice here I've got iron and a philo stone, and by giving it a redstone pulse I get ender pearls. Really, really, really good stuff here. And while that alone would make it, in my opinion, a lot better than a lot of the auto crafting tables that are out there right now, check this out. I'm sure you're all familiar with the pain in the butt that it is to make recipes involving non-stacking items like buckets of liquid. You'll see over here I have a tank set up with a liquid pipe into the liquid crafter, and there are 9 total liquid inventories for this thing. I'm going to go ahead and turn my pump on. You'll notice one of the inventories is going to fill up. So what you have here is this thing has the ability to carry 10 buckets of 10 different liquids depending on what you're crafting. Notice the recipe calls for a water bucket, and if I send it a redstone pulse, I get my coolant cell output. So recipes that call for up to 10 different buckets of liquid or containers. You could be, a lot of these recipes use the OR dictionary and can use any kind of container of liquid. You can pump the liquid directly into the internal storage, send it a redstone pulse, and out comes your completed, in this case, 10K coolant cell. Really, really, really good stuff. One of the coolest blocks I've seen in a really long time, and I'm sure people will come up with a lot of really neat uses for it. And that's pretty much it. That covers all of the machines. Real quickly here, I'll show you the recipe for the liquid crafter. It is 3 gold, 2 buckets, a crafting table, and 2 item frames, of all things, along with the factory machine block, and that gives you your liquid crafter. In addition to these new machines and new blocks and new tools, Powercrystals has also added some functionality for his old machines to work with, I think, Thaumcraft and some other crops. And I believe he's working on getting Pam's mod integrated with his machines as well. So all that stuff should work either in the next pre-release or in the actual release. But that is Powercrystals MineFactory Reloaded 2.1. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them for me. I more than appreciate the feedback. Thank you so much, and see you next time.